What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So Monster Hunter Wilds is a game I've tested a few times on all the handhelds, and it's a rough experience that I really haven't recommended anywhere, even on more powerful handhelds than the Steam Deck. But recently it got its title update with a lot of new content and features, and it stopped working or launching altogether on the Steam Deck. But we've had a Proton hotfix, it would appear today, that has made the game work again properly here thanks to Valve. Now, I'm pretty much sticking with old settings I've had, which is just 800p, uncapped frame rate, no VSync. You can use FSR if you're going to use frame generation. If you're not going to use frame generation, I kind of recommend going XeSS, and we'll take a look at that as well. And then I've just typically used the lowest preset when I've been testing this game out. Also, remember to set your manual GPU clock on to 1600 to max out. If you are using frame gen, that'll help out with that a little bit, but it still is going to be a mess, especially in social areas. I'm not even on this account high enough to get to the new social area, which I'm sure is an absolute mess trying to run on the handhelds, including the Steam Deck. But all the places I would normally go around and check things, it's still really rough. Even though the game's not crashing, it's launching fine, it's now working fine for me with the hotfix. Obviously, there isn't a lot they're going to be able to do or are doing anytime soon when it comes to handheld performance, be it the Steam Deck or maybe the Z1 Extremes or anything like that. They all are pretty rough. Now, at least with frame generation, some of the other devices are a good bit more playable, but since launch, the Steam Deck's always been pretty rough. Now, again, if you want to go to not using frame generation and you just want to use the upscaling, I would go with XeSS. It's a bit cleaner. You can use Ultra Performance, which it defaults to, or Performance. A little bit cleaner image, and in my opinion, although not all the time, I tend to get just in smoother gameplay. I feel like it doesn't stutter as much, but it's still very low FPS. It doesn't help your performance, but I do think the image quality is better in a lot of areas than FSR. If you're not going to use frame generation, then I would recommend XeSS upscaling. But if you are going to use frame gen, I would say hit that manual GPU clock to 1600 and use FSR with performance or ultra performance and see what you get there. But yeah, depending on what you're doing here, with no frame generation on when you get out into things, as always, we are going to be in the teens and 20s when it comes to performance for the most part, and FSR here again with frame generation still struggles, especially if there's a lot going on depending on where you're at. So yeah, the game is still very, very rough to try to play on something like the Steam Deck. It's not that great elsewhere either, and it's kind of a shame because I really like this Monster Hunter. I've played a lot on console as well, and I've kind of had a lot less issue with it there, at least for now. I also recommend GeForce Now or even streaming from your own local desktop if that's an option for you to your Steam Deck. This is much better and cleaner. I get a very good experience on GeForce Now. I've been big into cloud gaming since 2020. I've used this service for about 5 years, and their Ultra RTX 4080 tier that they have, while it costs, is a great option for streaming games to a lot of the handhelds, including the Steam Deck. But yeah, with all that said, guys, I'm pretty much going to leave it there. I'll just leave a little bit more gameplay here from GeForce Now. Definitely, as I said, I recommend streaming this game one way or another if you really do want to play it on a handheld, but otherwise, you pretty much know what you're dealing with. But at least Valve with the Proton hotfix did get the game working again on the deck, and kudos for that. Anyways, guys, thanks a lot for coming and check out the video. As always, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.